Good afternoon. I'm Angela Sicoli, President of New Jersey Realtors, and I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar, Chaos to Calm, Mindful Practices for this Now Moment. I'm very pleased to introduce today's presenter, Holly Duckworth. Holly is a trailblazing keynote speaker and applied mindful leadership advisor. As a contributor to the New York Times, a producer and host the Everyday Mindful Show, and columnist to countless industry publications. She works with stressed out leaders to create peace, presence, and profits. Holly was named Meetings Today 2018 Trendsetter for her applied mindful work in 2016, Smart Meetings Woman of the Year. She is the author of 4 books on stress reduction and has provided training programs on applied mindful leadership around the world. Please welcome Holly Duckworth.
Hello, Angela. Thank you for having me.
We're pleased to have you here. Thank you.
We've got quite a group. I see Colleen and Dana and Demetrius. We've got a great 55 minutes or so planned for us. I know that we all have a busy day, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I think that I'm going to have the opportunity to share my screen with you. And there we have it.
Yeah.
Perfect. See, we're all learning technology in powerful and amazing ways. So as Angela introduced me, first of all, I just want to thank your membership and your community for recognizing the power of mental health and how our mental health in this time of rebirth and renewal is so important. And I always like to remind my realtor clients, remember, you are the stewards of the American dream. So while we're getting started, I want to invite you to utilize your chat box, because this isn't Holly the talking head here coming at you from Denver. This is really designed to be an engaging experience. So I want to ask you, is your mind full, like the gentleman there on the screen? Or is your mind full? The second image there. Just take a moment and breathe into your own possibility. What is it that you're feeling right now? And if you had to describe that feeling in one word, what would that one word be? And I want to invite you to type that in the chat box. How are you feeling right now? And while you are all grabbing your keyboards to type in there, I want to tell you a little bit beyond my personal bio. I'll tell you my pandemic bio. I have the privilege of living in Denver, Colorado. My business partner and boyfriend, we bought a house December 15th, moved into the house January 15th, and went into quarantine on March 15th. So we too are navigating this strange and new time, and just like you are. Is there a way I can see the chat box while I'm chatting with you all? Chat. There it is. Boom. There it is. Yay. So I can see you all talking to me, I think. Good times. Blessed, calm, stressed. Let's see here, what's happening? Why is my window not working? I can see a few of you chatting away with me here. Let's see here. Stressed, peaceful, Demetrius, I love it. This is exactly what I'm seeing with every industry and every organization. You know, there's a third of us that are stressed and overwhelmed, and a third of us that are calm, and a third of us that don't even know where we are in the middle of this. Now, are you guys seeing my Zoom chat too, or are you just seeing my slides? Angela, maybe you can type in my window there. So I want to remind you that we're all going to be okay. And no matter what is happening, no matter how stressed, how overwhelmed, how excited, wherever you are in this spectrum, there are 7.7 billion people on the planet. And there are 7.7 billion ways to do this time of possibility. I want to just make a note there. Notice, I didn't call this a time of pandemic. I called this a time of possibility. What we think about, we bring about, and now's a powerful time for us to think, not stressed. Maybe we can take the S of stressed, and when we feel that stress coming up, we can go, wait, I don't want stress, I want success. Maybe unmute your microphone. Can you hear me? Saying that you can't hear my microphone. How's that? So here's what I want to remind you. We have survived these types of things before. There was SARS, there was the pandemic, there was all of the various experiences that we have had that were challenging. Zika in 2016, Ebola in 2018, and of course now the coronavirus. So it's a time to look back and remember we are all thrivers. We are all survivors, and we will come through this together. As we were preparing for today's talk, one of the biggest things I want you to remember is your presence is the greatest present you can bring to your family and you can bring to your clients at this time. That presence, are you going to choose peaceful, educated, connecting? I hear buzzing as you are speaking. Does it stop now? We have to remember that we are lights in the world, that this is our opportunity to truly stand up and be a light for one another and for the industry that realtors are, and the way that we can transform these economic times to being more powerful and presence-filled. So I want to tell you a little bit about our intentions for today. Our intentions for today are, first, I want to educate you on what mindfulness is. Then I want to connect you to some practices that you can do right now to be mindful. And then I want to inspire you to simply try one mindfulness practice that might help you to let go of the chaos and choose calm at this particular time in history. As I continue to prepare for today's talk, I had one inspirational quote that kept coming up for me. And it was really a Lao Tzu quote, that if we just had one thing to teach at this time, it would be simplicity. It would be patience, and it would be compassion. These are three of the most powerful treasures that we can have as business owners and as realtors at this time. How can we find simplicity as we educate ourselves and our client in the new rules and regulations? How can we find patience with ourselves and with one another in each of the conversations that we are going to have the opportunity to have as we reemerge in our businesses in a new way? And then, of course, how can we inspire compassion? We're not all going to have the right answers. We're not going to have the right answers at the right time. And it's important that we look to making sure we have opportunities in this time of transformation. I am going to try. Does it go away now, Mary? Better. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So as we center into this time together and we respond to those quotes, simplicity, patience, compassion, I want us to start out with just a centering breath. And for all of my face-to-face and virtual programs right now, one thing I'm doing is I'm inviting folks to join me in just a moment of breath. When is the last time you just took a mindful breath in and a mindful breath out? We started out, and I had you type into that chat box, what's that one word of stress or overwhelm that you're experiencing? As I'm going to ring the singing bowl 3 times, I want to invite you to breathe in. What's the word you would like to have? What would you like to be feeling right now? So just take a moment. I'm going to ring the singing bowl 3 times and ask your intuition self, what do I want to be feeling right now? So we just breathe in and breathe out. Just take a moment and bring some awareness to your feet on the ground. Breathe in and breathe out. Let those shoulders drop. And ask that still small voice inside you, what is it you want to be feeling right now? I know we're hearing all over on news and media the importance of the breath. So I want to invite you to type now into that chat box. What's the word you want to be feeling? I love it. Mary's already beat me to it. She says, I'd like to be feeling balanced. What's that one word you want to feel? Tanya says prepared, calm, happiness, centered. in this time of pandemic, it's time for us to let go of some of these outside feelings and really step in to those initial moments, those powerful moments. I want to feel great. I want to feel gratitude. I want to feel organized. So I have a little treat for you. That first person, Mary, who typed into the chat box, I want to give you a free digital download of Everyday Mindfulness from Chaos to Calm in a Crazy World. So make sure you put your name and your email in the chat box and say Everyday Mindfulness book. And I'm going to send you this book because, again, today I want it to be about collaboration. And so I want to incentivize you guys and thank you for typing in the chat box. And we're going to have more treats in the moments that we are here together. I want to feel resolution. Oh, Lane, what a powerful word. I want to feel gratitude. I want to feel in control and organized. Well, JJ, maybe this is an opportunity for you to recognize you never were in control before. And I love that word there about balanced and acceptance, that I think now is a really great time for us. It is what it is. I accept what is. We often talk what we resist persists. So maybe JJ and those of you who are feeling like you want to have more control, utilize these practices I'm going to be sharing with you to accept what is, bless it, and move forward from this place. And I absolutely am so excited for your association because your leadership is working so hard to provide you tools and resources, websites, and connections. So what exactly is mindfulness? I know this is a word that's kind of out there in the populace right now, and it can be a little confusing for folks. So I really want to simplify it for you. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in the moment. Now, you might hear another definition, which I also like to use, and it is the definition by my friend, John Kabat-Zinn. John Kabat-Zinn is the founder of the Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction Institute, and his definition is a little fancier than mine. Mindfulness is the awareness that rises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment without judgment, with non-judgment. So that's why I like us to think about how can we accept what is, breathe through it, and not judge it. Because again, what we resist persists. So mindfulness, you're seeing it everywhere. This is the cover of Time magazine, CNN, NPR. Mindfulness is good as any antidepressant drugs. Lots of folks that Dan Harris from 10% Happier is talking about how if you just make yourself 10, even 1% happier, you do it every single day, you're 7% happier. Lots of great apps out there. That's one of my number one questions. I like the Calm app. I like the Happier app. We're also, working with mindfulness.com to utilize their app. Lots of different ways we can integrate our use of technology and mindfulness. But here's how I know mindfulness is going mainstream. This weekend, I'm actually hosting our first ever mindfulness movement movie watch party. Yes, there's a full-length feature movie on the practice of mindfulness. And you can see there in the links, the C-Suite Network is hosting it. And if you go to leadershipsolutions.com, there's a mindfulness movie link. You click that link and rent the movie, buy the movie, and join me and the stars of the show to learn more about mindfulness and the ability to transition mindfulness from your personal practice into your business. And we're going to have VIP special guest, Bill George, the senior professor at Harvard Business School, joining us for that conversation. So if you've been on the fence about mindfulness, or you know a little bit, but you're looking to learn more, it's important for us to engage in activities like this movie. So as we're exploring mindfulness, I always like to share with folks the business case for mindfulness. I know right now our homes are work and work's our home, and for realtors, that's kind of always been the case. I always joke, you have your car office as realtors. So what's the business case for mindfulness? First of all, mindfulness improves your concentration. Of course, I've got this slide. Slide is blocking here. Let's see here. I can move this? Yay. So mindfulness improves our concentration. It gives us better interpersonal skills. How do we have better empathy for one another? And if this time of pandemic, especially in your geographic region, hasn't taught us that power of empathy, mindful practices will. We need to connect to ourselves more, open up to what we're feeling, what we're seeing, what we're experiencing, and then have that same experience of empathy with others. A mindfulness practice also increases our creativity. as you continue to practice mindfulness, you have a more positive disposition. It also invites you to feel more refreshed and focused. As we were preparing for today's program, we were really aware that a lot of you are in a lot of different states of beingness with this pandemic. Some of you are busier than you've ever been. Some of you are still sitting on your couch. Perhaps a mindful practice would invite you to feel a little more refreshed and focused. And that can be as simply as taking those 3 breaths at your desk. So mindfulness provides tremendous value. It helps you transform the stress of your management position, and it helps you become more confident in your own abilities. So who's utilizing mindfulness? Apple, Nike, Deutsche Bank, Google, Aetna, and Procter & Gamble. I often say to my small business owners, if it's good enough for these companies, shouldn't it be good enough for us? This is an opportunity for us to explore how we can apply mindfulness in our own business. I love to reference this book. If you're curious about mindfulness and you're like, it's a little too heady for me, this book is a perfect intro. This is the book written by Chade-Meng Tang. He's the founder of the Search Inside Yourself Institute, which is the mindfulness training course at Google. So if the really super heady engineers at Google can do it, so can we as creative realtors and entrepreneurs out there growing our business. And I'm very proud to say that we're going to actually have Daniel Goldman, who wrote the foreword of this book, on my Everyday Mindfulness show very soon. This book is really fun too because it's full of comic strips and cartoons that bring a little lightheartedness to mindfulness. So at the Search Inside Yourself Institute, they put the first 3,000 people through the program. And what they learned is, as a result of their program, they were able to pre-program, about 39% were able to stay in the present moment. After they learned mindful practices, 65% reported they had better ability to come back to the present moment. And I think that's why this time of pandemic is throwing us off, is our brains are hardwired to have regret and sadness of the past, or concern and fear about the future. As a mindful realtor right now, your greatest power, your presence, is how you're going to be present in the present moment, choosing that word of calm, of balance. So here's another example of Search Inside Yourself Institute research. Before the program, only 37% would actually have a calming practice. Now, after the program, 66% had, and they were able to calm themselves in a stressful situation. They also saw that their empathy improved, 54% before, 10% more, 64% after. So how can we start to look at, as realtors especially, where you are in one-on-one intimate conversations with your clients, the use of empathy as one of your strategic advantages to grow and expand not only your real estate business, but the industry as a whole, as the New Jersey Association of Realtors. And then, of course, they also measured this idea that Lao Tzu was talking about, the importance of compassion. When someone I work with is hurt in some way, that I feel comfortable offer assistance or offering help. And that too went up. In this time of pandemic, it's really important for us to put our ears on our heart. And sometimes it's not just about listening to the words people are saying, but the energy and how they're saying it. And I'm seeing a lot more articles right now that, we use, how are you? How are you? We'd say, okay, okay, okay. And I say in the opening of Everyday Mindfulness, okay was really just code for I'm about to lose my stuff and I don't want you to know. Now, how are you? Starting to bring up some of those new words. I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed, I'm excited, I'm happy, I'm concerned. And when people don't have the words, as a realtor, I would invite you to start looking with compassion and see if you can offer them a couple. Well, are you kind of in this family, or are you kind of, in the overwhelmed family, to start engaging in deeper levels of authentic conversations with your clients. So I like to say, and I'm often quoted for this line, what we think about, we bring about. So if you're at home thinking stress and overwhelm, then you're probably going to get stress and overwhelm. If you're sitting at home thinking, wow, this is the greatest time ever, you're probably going to get that. think of it like those old days when we used to go to a restaurant. We'd go in, we'd sit down, we'd order tacos, and we knew 20 minutes later, tacos were coming. Maybe that same thing is true in our own mindset. Welcome, Jared. So grateful to see you. So we know a little bit more about mindfulness. And I want to give you a couple of practices to be mindful. That first practice, be here now. When you feel yourself in that need to control, that overwhelm, I just don't know, wait a second, be here now. And coming to this place of trust that everything you ever needed to know is right here, right now. And that's where the power of association can be magnified. That in today's world where data is doubling every single day, we can't know everything all the time, but we have our association right here. And somebody within that association is going to know. And I want to encourage you to keep going back to that COVID-19 resource page that your association has created for you. They're going to continuously update that and resource each other. Hey, you know what? I went out and I tried this practice and it worked. I tried this practice and it didn't work. This is that perfect time to be in the now without judgment, in a sense of curiosity and discovery. It's true. For so many of us, it feels like our life has been hit by a wrecking ball. So are you saying that you're in the wrecking ball? Or are you looking at life in the blue sky of opportunity? However you answer that one question will transform this next week, month, years of your life. Are you choosing the wrecking ball? Or are you choosing that blue sky of opportunity? Sometimes I think those folks that we slip into the wrecking ball, we just need one little mindful practice that will help us get back on that positive blue sky of opportunity again. And that practice is what I call practice number 2. This is the practice of intention setting. And intention is how will you put your energy in motion each day. It's a very common practice that we get up in the morning and we look at our to-do list, or before we go to bed, we write our to-do list each day. Well, we have to remember, we're human beings, not simply human doings. So how will you be in your doing each day? So I want to invite you, in a face-to-face program, I have these virtual intention cards. Where's the intention card here? I have this intention card, and on that, we write down how will we put our energy in motion. So take a second and write in the chat box, what is your intention, say, between now and the end of the month? I know we've got a really fun holiday weekend coming up, but we're all still growing and expanding our businesses. So how will you put your energy in motion between now and the end of the month? And go ahead and type that word in the chat box. Okay, so Andrea says Facebook ads. Andrea, you're going to get the next book that I'm going to give away, and that is going to be the book, Sell More, Stress Less, 52 Tips to Become a Mindful Sales Professional on digital download. So make sure to put your email in the chat box, and I will make sure that my team emails you a digital copy of this book. Practice number 2 is intention setting. And again, I think it's really important. How are we going to be in the doing? So Vanessa, love your comment. Walk 5 miles a day. That's the doing. How are you going to be when you walk? Are you going to be excited, stress-free, carefree, happy, joyful? CRM education, Gabrielle, look great. You're going to be expanding your knowledge. So how are you going to take your energy into those CRM education courses? Are you going to be overwhelmed or exhausted? I too, believe it or not, am taking 3 classes online right now in addition to running my work. Veronica says energetic, fantastic. Marzan, you're going to learn about social media, prioritize. A lot of my clients are working on that. So go ahead and continue to type in that chat box, and we'll continue to integrate that here into our virtual mindful experience. It's really key right now, no matter where you are. If you find yourself stuck on the couch, or if you find yourself in the biggest roller coaster of your life, that you take a moment each day, maybe integrate these practices, breathing in, breathing out, and setting your intention. I know some of you, I found this photo and I couldn't resist. Some of you are just working at home, I jest. I'm just working at home. Life is good, and life is kind of in this normal pace. But, again, you can sort of see that smile on her face. This is a powerful time for us to simply set an intention of how our energy is going to be put in motion. Each and every day on my live show, I'm doing a live Facebook feed every day at noon Mountain Time. I read from this book. This is a daily inspirational reader, and this is a great way to set your intention. And I thought it would be fun to kind of share with you today's intention. So in the book, you set your intention, and then you have a quote of inspiration, and then a little story. And today's is so perfect for that quote from Lao Tzu. Feel first, manifest second. When in doubt, feel the fear, feel overwhelmed, but keep it simple. Don't go into a big story about it. Feel what you want to feel, see what you want to see, but also let go of what you don't want to feel. Let go of what you don't want to see, and manifest something new. Yay, JJ, we celebrate with you. She's posting out to us here in community. While she's working hard to be present in the moment, she got a call and a contract under appraisal. Congratulations and thank you. This is going to be actually a perfect connection to our next mindfulness practice. Some of us feel like we got hit by that wrecking ball. It's time for us to renew our heart and our light into why did we start our businesses in the first place? Is it to make money, connect to your community, grow a business? Type in the chat box, why did you originally start your business? And it's true. Maybe that may change. Maybe that may evolve. But right now, we need to take time, mindful time in this present moment, while we are wherever we are, in our state of pandemic transition, without judgment, to create a powerful business. Jenny says, opening up my own business at some point. Fantastic. Each and every one of these businesses, each and every one of the intentions that you're placing needs to start with one simple vision. She says, I want to make money while having time to chauffeur my kids. Brilliant. So I want to ask you, remember, what you visualize, you actualize. What you visualize, you actualize. So when we go to the restaurant, we order the tacos, we see tacos on the plate and tacos appear. That same thing applies personally as it does to your business. And I have a program, it's called a visualization process. Do you have a vision board for your company? Type a quick yes or no in the chat box. Do you have a vision board for your company? Some of us have them for our personal life. I want to travel. Yay, Mary does. Jenny does. Awesome. So some of us don't. Perfect opportunity right now. The team asked me, what are things I could do right now to work not just in my business, but work on my business mindfully, while some of our businesses may be slow and some of them are wrapping up. Here's one mindful practice you can do. That is the visioning process. This visioning process for my clients, for my coaching clients, we do sometimes for like your association. We could do this for the New Jersey Association of Realtors. For others, we may do it for just their personal business, or maybe you do it for your life. For the short time we have together, I want to invite you, if you don't have a vision board for your business, I'm going to ask you a series of questions and start to visualize what you want to have happen in your business. Maybe if you have a personal one, do it for your business. If you don't have a business, you can't do this mindfulness thing wrong. I think that holds a lot of people back in a mindfulness practice. Oh, I'm going to do it wrong. I'm not going to do enough time. Oh my gosh, it's spiritual. Oh my gosh, it's religious. Mindfulness is simply new thoughts on ancient wisdom or new thoughts on personal development. So in this time when some of us are slowing down a bit, I want to invite you to do this visioning process. And I'm going to give all these slides to the team, so you guys will get these. Your first question is, what is the highest and best vision I have in my business? What's the highest and best vision you have for your business? Again, if you're going to order the tacos and see the tacos on your plate, what is that in your business? I'm going to sign 30 new home contracts. I'm selling 1 commercial contract. I'm working with a new funder. You can't do this wrong. Take your ears and put them on your heart. Get your energy back on that first day when you were so excited to have a career that would allow you to pick up your kids, have a personal life, have work-life integration, and change things. What would you do if you had your highest and best vision for your business plan? Be successful. Take independence from myself and team members. So often in a mindfulness practice, people think about mindfulness as something out there. I want to invite you now to step into that vision as if it were the truth right now. What is my business? What's my personal life? What's my association in its highest and best vision? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And what does it sound like? Be here now. Sit in that positive energy you want to create. And mindfully, what does my highest, best vision look like, feel like, and sound like? I see your chat about the book. It's my book. It's Everyday Mindfulness, From Chaos to Calm in a Crazy World. It's on my website, hollyduckworth.com. I'm going to give some copies away, and it is on digital download as well. And I will go back through this chat. I want to make sure that for those of you who are participating in the chat, if you put your email in, or I'll work with the team, that I just created a new digital-only online book called Everyday Mindfulness for the C-Suite Executive. I know you guys are all business owners. I'm going to make sure that you have that on digital download as well. So just put your email in the chat, and I'm going to make sure that you get. If you were the first person to respond, you're going to get the full book, which is 310 pages. It's the whole year. And anybody who puts their email in, I want to make sure that you get this. And I'm not going to add you to a list. This isn't like a mass email list. I just want to make sure that you have these mindfulness practices and these tools that you can lean on as you turn up the volume, the energy in your business. So we're doing visioning. Your first question, what's your business in its highest and best form look like? In your next form, what does it feel like and what does it sound like? And you guys, you can't do this wrong. One of my favorite answers on this question is that my business in its highest and best form smells like warm laundry. And as home folks, you know the power of at home. Oh, that downy smell, it's soft, it's comfortable, and it's warm. And we took that vision and we broke it down into the contracts they wanted to have, the engagements, the networking, lots of different ways to experience that. So as you're becoming more mindful, more present, more in yourself, that means you must ask this next question. What must I become to be, to do, or to have this vision? If this pandemic's taught us nothing, again, it gave us that Control-Alt-Delete. It gave us that blue sky of the wrecking ball, or that blue sky of opportunity. What are you going to choose to become in this new vision? You're going to become that which you just intended to have. Somebody said successful. Somebody said independent. I want to be more resourceful. I want to grow my network. Less emotionally attached to situations. I love that one, Gabriella. My tactic on that is, I call it the bless, the block, and the bye-bye. I am not sure if you're talking about face-to-face or if you're talking about an online interaction, but sometimes to become our highest and best self, we have to release that which no longer serves us and release something new. Listen to music in my soul, work harder and learn more. So many great opportunities to become. It's not always what we do, but it's who we choose to become in these times. And I want to be sensitive that there are some folks right now that we're in a pause, where we're on the couch, we're curled up. If you're looking for something to do for yourself, breathe, center, and maybe just take 1 millimeter, 1 inch, 1 mile towards that which you want to become. And as we continue to explore a mindful visioning for your life, and I've invited you to not just make it on the vision board out there, but step into it as if it's the truth of who you are right now. That brings us to the next visioning question, which is, what must I release in order to live this vision? I think this life, the life that we once lived, is probably not the life that we get to re-enter. And so to your point about I want to listen to music in my soul and become less emotionally attached. Remember, Lao Tzu said, patience, simplicity, and compassion. but it's an invitation to release what's no longer serving, to accept what is serving. Mohammed, I know I'm going to get you the slides. I think the team at the Realtors Association may be willing to share the recording. We'll check on that and get back to you. But I know that the slides and the handouts I'm happy to share as well. So first, we must create the vision, live into that vision right now, become something higher and better, and then let go of what is no longer serving us. And I want to invite you right now, as we're looking at mindfulness. Well, I shared the bullet points of the values and what mindfulness means. I'm also demonstrating another practice of mindfulness, which is stay in the questions. I'm presenting to you 4 of them right now. What can you do to question, to stay in curiosity and discovery and wonder of how to create the future that you've always dreamed of? Thank you, team and staff. We will be making sure that you get the audio program here. Maria's going to get out of her comfort zone. You know, again, what we think about, we bring about. So as we're exploring the new, and for some of us, that the new comfort zone may be, ooh, I have to show a home with gloves or a mask. When we're sitting in that car before that client arrives, you know, I'm in my new calm zone. Say that affirmation to yourself. I'm in my new calm zone. I'm in my new calm zone. Marzana, be more patient. You know, I'm going to be present with this client. I'm going to be patient. Mindfulness, for some folks, gets a little messy with meditation. And I understand that there is mindful meditation. And if that practice works for you and you want to, you know, do 10 minutes of meditation in the morning, or a half an hour at the end of the day, whatever works for you. Mindfulness is simply your own practice, finding your own practice to be fully present in the moment. And I like to help busy professionals like you integrate mindfulness into your daily work habits, whether you're at your office, your home office, or in your car office, or any point in between. And one way we do that is we do offer the Everyday Mindfulness Show and the Everyday Mindfulness Show podcast. And right now I'm doing it live. If you go to everydaymindfulnessshow.com, you can get all of those episodes. I have 150 episodes now with some of the top scientists and researchers on mindfulness practices, from affirmations to Harvard Business School and all points in between. There are 7 practices, formal practices, I say, to become a mindful leader. And I wanted to give you that tool as well. And the link is there on the screen at the show website, everydaymindfulnessshow.com. This is what I call the mindful mini poster. And it has those 7 practices. Obviously today in an hour, we don't have the chance to cover all 7 of them. But I wanted to do a deep dive in 3 of them. And of course, that first one is that intention setting. We don't have a lot of time. We don't have to add a lot to our to-do list to be mindful. But you can see there in the lower corner, one practice is setting your intention. That next practice that I shared is that idea of breathing and centering into your beliefs. And then, of course, this idea of creating a powerful vision. Oh, Harry, I love what you're saying there. You know, a mindful person may avoid or ignore interruptions. Another way to say that is light-filled boundaries. That in this time especially, where people are whipped up, how can you choose to stand for something that means so much to you, but not stand against anyone else? This is that time to practice what Lao Tzu said. Keep your work simple, keep your family simple, let things go. Really, truly stand in this place of patience. Some of this stuff is going to take time to recreate, renew, and refresh. And then, of course, to stand in that place of compassion. Rose, it's my privilege. So I wanted to share with you a couple ways that I've actually utilized these practices in my own business for business results. And here on the screen, you see a picture of a contract. My first 5 contracts I got in mindfulness as a professional speaker, coach, and author. I actually did just exactly this. I pulled out a mock contract, and I sat in this quiet moment and I said, okay, who do I want to serve? How do I want to serve them? What do I want to sell to them? And I just like a journaling activity, let those words flow onto the page. I want to serve ABC organization with XYZ keynote for $5,000. I want to sell X type of house to Y type of family for Z profit for me. And I took all those pretend, fun, creative discovery contracts and I put them in a desk drawer. And I forgot about them for 5 years. And when I moved my office from Portland, Oregon to Denver, Colorado, I found all 5 of those contracts. And just like you order the tacos and they arrive, that same thing happened in my business. I was able to capture every one of those clients in the way that I had written or something better. So mindfulness has pure, powerful business applications. And I would invite you, now that you have a little education on it, a few practices to try, maybe I can inspire you to try this as you turn up the power and the presence of re-emerging in a new way in your real estate business. Here's another example. I always wanted to speak at this keynote, this conference, the Meeting Industry Colorado conference. It attracts about 3,000 meeting planners. In 2017, at the end of the conference, I stood up there on the stage and I said, I will be here next year. This or something better. The very next year, they invited me to lead a 3-day mindfulness experiential education session within their conference. So not only, so I wasn't the main stage, which would have been a kind of a one-hit wonder, I got to touch hundreds of meeting professionals in mindful training as well as mindful practices. So some of them came and did a traditional speech. Some of them sat in meditation, and we did that for 2 years back to back. Mindful matters, and so do you. The more we can slow down and practice this presence, take these moments of quiet that we've had over the last 12 to 8 weeks and start looking at little ways we can infuse them into our go forward business strategy, the more powerful and presence-filled we can be. So mindfulness, well, there's a lot of things, it means a lot of things to a lot of people. At its most simple form, Deepak Chopra said in the Mindfulness Movement movie that we're going to be debuting this weekend, mindfulness is about awareness. Let's be aware of that first word we typed in the chat box. For some of you, it might have been stress or anxiety or overwhelm. And let's be equally aware of that box of what we wanted to feel. It was my intention that this hour of time might invite you 1 millimeter closer to that intention that you want to create personally and professionally. So I'm going to make sure that I'm going to go back through this chat box and I'm going to make sure that all the first responders get a copy of Everyday Mindfulness. So I'm going to give away some digital downloads of Some More, Stress Less. I know that there was a question there about all of my books. If you go to Leadership Solutions, INTL, and I'll type it in the chat box.com, all of my books are there. But I want to invite you to that this was supposed to be interactive. So type your questions in. If you had a question on your heart or on your mind, type it into the chat box. And in just a moment, I'm going to take some of those questions and report out. Because if you have the question, I'm sure somebody else on the call does. Mindfulness is about what we see in each and every present moment. And what you see there on your screen is actually a heart on the ceiling of the home of Jeffrey Hazlett. Jeffrey Hazlett is the founder of the C-Suite Network. This picture was taken this summer. You may have heard on the news that South Dakota flooded, and he had this river in his backyard. And at that time, he invited 20 of us to come out and do a high-impact mastermind at his house. And we were all sharing our business challenges and our business opportunities and how we were going to grow. Now, this happened, it was in December or January, before this pandemic. And all of a sudden, I looked up and I saw the heart lit on the ceiling. And we started to look as a community and say, how did that happen? And it was only because the rivers rose, that the sun had hit in a specific way, that it magnified this heart on the ceiling at the exact moment that we were all together. This is the gift as realtors, as a realtor industry, and as members of the New Jersey Realtors, you get to be and do and have for one another. right now is a time to look around and see the light in one another. Every one of you brings a new and unique gift to your business and to this association. And I want you to explore how you can bring those together to create a heart just like this of light that will transform your industry. How do I teach people to be patient? Mohammed said. Each and every moment with your own actions. As Lao Tzu's quote says, it starts with us. So I would, again, in this space of mindfulness is about the questions we ask ourselves and how we infuse them. So Mohammed, I would ask you to ask yourself with your ears on your heart, how am I demonstrating patience to the people that you have in this question? And let that answer come through. And then as you change, the people around you will change and become more patient. That sometimes we have to be honest, that the challenge of mindfulness actually is our own minds are full. If you're not seeing my screen, my hands are going crazy. My mind is full versus mindful. So again, this may be an opportunity as you renew your business to think about bringing patience to yourself, being kind and compassionate with yourself, to expand that to your teams. Mary wants to give the websites again. I actually do have them. Excuse me, I'm going to show my screen. I want to make sure you guys know how to connect to me. This is my LinkedIn. I'm putting in the chat box. Link in with me if you have a question come up after this. To keep it sort of simple, here is the link to the movie night, as well as links to my book, The Leadership Solutions INTL. And then if you're interested in my podcast, that link is there as well. So lots of resources for you to play with this concept of mindfulness, that you have a permission slip to change. I know for some of us, it's hard to empower ourselves to say, I'm going to live my business in a different way. And a session and a conversation like this, I hope demonstrates to you that you're not alone in this and that you have the opportunity to change. Gabriella, I say every day I'm going to stay off social media and not watch the news every day, and yet I spend hours on both. This is that concept in mindfulness of release and replace. So I would invite you, and if there's somebody else on this call that's in that same experience of, I don't want to take on any more media, it's one thing to say, I'm not going to do this anymore. But then ask yourself, what would you rather have? So you have something to put that energy into. So, and I also had this one about 3 weeks into this time of possibility, and said, I'm going to release the news every day, and I'm going to replace it with a class, or I'm going to release meet the news, and I'm going to replace it with an hour of reading. Somebody else talked about walking. I'm going to the time I would normally spend sitting on the couch watching the news, I'm going to turn and I'm going to go walking. So try that, and I hope that works for you. Great question. How do you find mindfulness with young and energetic kids at home? Join us for the movie night if you can. There's actually a whole module on this in education. Kids actually are better than this than we are giving them credit for. And I'm smiling. This is one of the books that I use, Master of Mindfulness. This book was written by kids for kids. I think it's about 4th grade-ish. Mindfulness can help your kids face a world of challenges with clarity and focus. I'm extremely heartened to see Mr. Musafeli's 5th grade class taking on this project. Tim Ryan, Ohio, author of A Mindful Nation. That we have to really honor that we're one family, and that's both family in terms of we're the Smiths at House A, and we're one family as a human family, and that mindfulness is a non-judgmental practice we can all try. I will put it in the notes and in the links. If you go to hollyduckworth.com, I also have a full library of mandala coloring, and a lot of the kids have really enjoyed, coloring is a mindfulness practice you can do with your kids to get them out of their head and just into that calm and creative space. So I hope that helps you out. Thank you, team, for typing that in, hollyduckworth.com. What is the difference between mindfulness and meditation? This is a beautiful question I get asked a lot. And you will discover the answer that's right for you. My research shows they are the yes and. So they can be separated or they can be together. And again, if you join us for themindfulnessmovement.com, that's the movie we're debuting this weekend, themindfulnessmovement.com, or go to my LinkedIn and hit Mindful Movie. There's a module in this movie about that. So there is a type of meditation that's called mindfulness meditation. That's the more sit in the traditional lotus position or sit in a chair and be fully breathing and centered into that moment. Mindfulness, again, as we've had new thoughts and it's expanded and emerged over the last 30 years into America and into the Western US, has become a much more rounded topic. And so mindfulness has become the practice of being present in the moment, and it will be attached to another practice, mindful eating, being fully present with your food. Any of the 7 practices that I talked about here, mindfulness can be gratitude. Mindfulness can be that idea of movement and walking. Can I repeat the URL for the books? They're easy to find. HollyDuckworth.com has a shop button. HollyDuckworth.com has a shop button. The team has placed that in the chat box. My email is just holly@hollyduckworth.com. If the team has the chance, they can type that in there too. How do you not let everyone distract you from being mindful? Mary, what a beautiful question. Remember, what you resist persists. So again, this is a practice, not a perfect. And so if you utilize the practice to be here now, you almost, back to the dimmer switch, you have to almost dim out the outside distractions to come back centered and present. One of my favorite places to meditate, believe it or not, is in the traditional vision of what we knew of Las Vegas. Because, we think lights and music and busy. But I can go stand on the middle of the strip in Las Vegas, put my feet on the ground, breathe in and breathe out, and bring my focus and my attention and my awareness so fully into my energy there that I'm not taking on the energy of others. Now, that's a practice. And so all of these things, team, you don't have to start with 30 minutes. Start with 1 minute a day. Start with when you wash your hands, the 700 times we're washing our hands a day. Just bring your attention to feeling the water, feeling yourself with the water and the stress going down the drain. Do that 1 minute once a day and bring yourself back into center. JJ, I'm going to jump out and I'm going to send you the links for the movie. If you go to my site, leadershipsolutionsintl.com, all of these things are really easy to find there. There's a tab on the home button that says Mindful Movie. You can click that. The books are all right there, as well as hollyduckworth.com. That's kind of the gateway to all things mindfulness and leadership. How are we doing on time, Angela? I've got some more questions here, and I'm happy to continue, but I also want to honor folks' time. She's going to be unmuting herself here momentarily.
Holly, we're just about ready to wrap up. Just a couple of minutes if you'd like to wrap it up.
Perfect. Well, Andrea, if no matter what, when you see people distracted, really one technique to do with kids is that idea of mindful coloring and the breath, and do it with them. Do it with your families, do it with your clients, your customers. Really, I want to invite you that, again, there's one family. So if you have a small child that might be a little off balance right now, or you have a client that maybe is just a little stressed out about going into that house, stand outside, affirm the good, see what you want to see, have them have an easeful walk through, just as you would an easy finance experience, and then you get to deliver them that beautiful set of keys. Whatever it is that you're holding as the vision of good for your children or grandchildren, the more we visualize, the more we can actualize. So I want you to remember, mindfulness is the practice of being present in the moment. That no matter how stressed and overwhelmed we are right now, we get to remind each other and lean into your association that we will be okay. And when it gets just a little overwhelming, be here now and remember the power of simplicity, power of patience, and compassion, for these are our greatest treasures. And those skills are going to transform our businesses and our world at this time of possibility. I want you to remember, we don't have to choose chaos, we can choose calm. And there's lots of ways to just stay in this now moment. Thank you to Angela and Mary and your team at the association. You've got my contact information there on LinkedIn. If you or another organization you know can benefit from this information, or you need any information, this is just a beginning of an experience with me. Maybe we'll get to come out and see you face to face in 2021 or in the divine and right timing, but mindful matters, and so do you. It's been my great privilege to share this time with you.
Thank you, Holly, for this inspirational and empowering presentation. On behalf of New Jersey Realtors, I want to thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.